Hello, my name is Mahar Al Asfar, and I am a product marketing engineer within the VMware Cloud Foundation division at Broadcom. In this video series, we will demo the VCF private cloud experience. ACME Corp needs to test and deploy a new customer portal application for their sales team. In part one of this video series, our enterprise admin plays a pivotal role in this demo as we explore how they can establish multi-tenancy for various line of business or organizations, or we can call them tenants as well. We will create a new organization for our sales team called ACME Sales. So let's get started. On the screen, you can see we have 4 parts, and we will be focusing right now for this part one on the provider admin, who's going to create orgs and allocate region quotas and network configuration to these orgs. To log in as the provider admin, we can select the default system organization. That takes us to the provider management portal, and then we can log in as the provider admin. Once we log in successfully, we land on the infrastructure overview page, and you can see here an overview of how many organizations so far, how many regions, how many supervisors, and how many counter libraries created. You can see that there's already an existing organization. Like I mentioned, ACME Finance has already been created, and we can see in the getting started workflow that all 5 steps has been already completed when we created the ACME Finance organization. So we're going to touch on some of the things that the provider admin did to create that organization, and then we're going to create a new organization for our sales team. The first thing that under administration and connections, we will see our discovered connection endpoints. Under the vCenter, we see the vCenter for the management domain and the vCenter for the virtual infrastructure domain. And on the NSX Manager, we also see the NSX Manager for the management domain and the NSX Manager for the virtual infrastructure workload domain. So these connections are discovered from VCF operations automatically, and they show up here in our administration connection menu for the providers. If we click supervisor, we can see that we discovered a supervisor that's already been deployed and configured. And currently this is deployed on the workload, as we can see on the screen, by the workload domain vCenter. If we click the double arrows, we can see that there's only one zone in the supervisor. A supervisor can contain one or more zones. And currently we can see the CPU capacity and memory capacity, and as well the reserved VM classes. There's no reserved VM classes found here on this instance because the VI admin or the enterprise admin team has not created any VM classes with PCIe configuration, usually used for things like GPUs and DPUs. We can see that the provider admin already created a region called US West. It has the ready status, and it contains one supervisor that is pointing to the workload domain NSX local manager. If we click on the regions to get more details, we can see the supervisor contained in this region. A region can contain one or more supervisor as long as they are pointing or using the same NSX local manager. In the VM classes, we see all the t-shirt sizing in the VM classes discovered from the vCenter, but when we created the region initially, we've included all 16 VM classes. The provider admin has the option here to only select the VM classes they intend to make available within this region, so later can be allocated to organizations. One thing I want to note here is that there are 2 types of VM classes, as we can see here, best effort or guaranteed. The best effort, you can see that it has 0 reservations when it comes to CPU and memory, while the guaranteed VM classes have a CPU reservation defined and a memory reservation defined. So depending on your business use case or application type, you can select the appropriate VM class for your workload. We also see the storage classes available within the US West region. So this is the storage class that represents the backend storage, and in our case, it's vSAN, and it's available within the US West region, and it currently has 6% utilization or consumption. On the networking side, this is where we create our provider gateway and IP spaces. So we can already see that for the ACME as an organization, we already have a provider gateway. The provider gateway is going to allow the org to establish external network connectivity And it's going to leverage VCF networking concepts like T0 or T0 VRFs, and then associate those with IP address blocks. So we see here that in the IP addresses or IP spaces block, we already have two distinguished IP spaces, one allocated for each org. So we can see that the ACME Finance, it's using an IP block of 10.161.25.32 with /28, while the ACME Sales IP space already been created with a completely different subnet. Now let's get to the meat of this and create an organization for our sales team. So we'll click on Create Organization. There's two types of organization in VCF Automation 9, the All Apps Organization or the VM Apps Organization. All Apps Organization is going to run a wide variety of application, and it's going to be based on the supervisor services and resources. The VM apps is going to focus on supporting VM-based application, and this is really representing the 8.x experience that we have today. I'm going to hit next. We're going to select all apps and hit next. We're going to provide a name for our organization. This is going to be ACME Sales. And we're going to create and continue. Really look at the word create, because the minute you click this button, it will create the organization. So even if I cancel out of this workflow, we will have an organization called ACME Sales, but it won't be configured. And the workflow is going to allow us now to assign region quota, which is really resources, part of the region that we have created previously. That region is US West. So we select that. This is the region we want to consume resources from. And then we know that the US West region contains one supervisor for now. So we select that supervisor, and we know that that supervisor has only one zone. So we're going to go and select our zone, and we're going to set a limit for the ACME Sales Organization to use 100 gigahertz of CPU and a 256 gig of memory, and we will not define any reservation for CPU and memory. You do have the option to create reservation. If you do create a reservation, these resources will not be used by any other organization, whether ACME Sales as an organization deploys infrastructure that uses these resources or not. I'm going to hit save and then assign and continue. Next, we already saw that the organization contained multiple different VM classes. As a provider admin, you have the option to be very selective and select only the VM classes that you want to assign to the sales organization. I'm going to select everything, but again, you have the option to select based on the organization or the line of business needs. The last step here is the storage classes. We already saw that in the US West region, we only have one type of storage, and that's vSAN. And we're going to select that storage class and assign it 2 terabytes of storage out of the storage pool that we have within the US West region. And then I'm going to click assign and continue. Next, we will add a first user. This is the only user that's going to be allowed to log into the ACME Sales Organization beside the provider admin. So we're going to give it a name. We'll just call it admin and give it the organization administrator role. And then we'll add the user and finish. Now that our ACME Sales organization is created, we still have one step that the workflow did not allow us to do. And if we click on ACME Sales, we'll find out that we have not assigned this organization any networking configuration. So, and we can see it clearly on the page when we click on the organization. It says we have not configured networking for this organization in any region. So let's go ahead and configure a region network configuration so we can set up external connectivity for the ACME Sales organization. Clicking on configure or going to the networking menu takes us to the section where we can set up our regional networking. And the first thing we need to do is to set up a log name for the ACME Sales organization. So I'm going to click edit and provide a log name with the name of the organization. This is a globally unique identifier for the ACME sales organization. So later, if we need to troubleshoot and look at logs, we can filter the logs that belongs to the sales organization when we're looking at things on the backend network. Once the log is created, we're ready to assign network resources. So we can click new. And of course, we are going to, and the first thing we're going to do is select our region, of course, US West. And I'm going to hit next. And then, as we saw before, we have already a provider gateway that we can select that's using the tier 0 in this region. And the next is we can select the edge cluster. So you have two options here. You can use the edge cluster of the tier 0 provider gateway that it's actively using. Or if you have a use case where you have multiple edge cluster and you want to use a specific edge cluster, you can pick it from the list. But as you can see, we only have one. So we're going to keep it as default and hit next, and then create our networking, regional networking configuration for the ACME sales organization. Lastly, we have settings. And one of the things I want to allow as a provider admin, I want to allow the ACME sales organization to create subscribed content library. So I'm going to hit edit and going to toggle this option to allow this organization to create subscribed content library. And what this means is going to allow the org admin to subscribe to an external content library so they can synchronize the images of the external content library that they are subscribing to. So I'm going to hit save. If you do not give them this option, they will only be able to create local content libraries, but not subscribed content libraries. So let's go ahead and launch into the organization portal on behalf of the org admin. So as a provider admin, I'm going to click on the launch organization portal to see if I can access the organization successfully. And we can certainly do that by looking at the welcome dashboard. As you can see, there's no services because we don't have any namespaces created. So we will see that in the next part of this video. So let's go ahead and log out. Now that we know the organization is successful, we can hand the keys to the org admin to configure the organization the way they want to run their business. Using VMware Cloud Foundation, ACME Corp now can build a private cloud while abstracting the underlying backend services. This provides a seamless and uniform way to consume and deploy infrastructure and application across the entire VMware Cloud Foundation fleet, ensuring efficiency and ease of use. That wraps up this video. We hope this walkthrough helped clarify the VCF private cloud experience and gave you the necessary tools to move forward. Until next time, thank you for watching.